All right. Welcome back to the module 2 of this challenge, which is centered on components of solar PV system. In module 1, we explored what solar energy is and how it is used. Today, we are diving into the nuts and bolts, the actual components of a solar PV system. Our objective here is that by the end of this session, you'll be able to identify all, all the major components of a solar power system and explain what each one of the components can do in a solar PV system. Now, what makes up a solar PV system? A basic solar PV system has several key parts, all of them working together to form a solar PV system. And these are the following components. We have solar panels, we have charge controllers, we have power battery bank, like more like power bank. We all know power bank now. So that is if not grid tied solar PV system. Then we have inverter, we have mounting structures, and then we have wiring and monitoring systems. So let's dive deep into all of them one by one. To start with, we are starting with solar panels. And solar panels are the heart of the system. They convert sunlight into direct electricity, that is DC, using photovoltaic cells. There are different types of solar panels. We have monocrystalline, which is most efficient and also more expensive. We have polycrystalline, which is less efficient and cheaper. Then we have thin filmed flexible panels that are used in vehicles and maybe in flexible locations, flexible places, like in modern cities where you have uh, EVs, that is electronic vehicles, that some of them are powered by solar and some use these filmed solar panels just for an outdoor use, that is maybe in camp meetings and all of that. They are not regular in Nigeria though, but these are type of panels so that when you see them you don't get confused. One of the things you need to note about those thin film panels is that they are flexible, unlike normal solar panels. Do you understand that? They are flexible. Do you get that? So, having said that, we have uh, we have these two or three types of solar panels I've mentioned. They can come in either full cut or half cut. Note that some solar panels are in full cell. We are going to explain what that means. Some are in half cuts. So let's pick them one by one and explain. Starting with monocrystalline panels. These monocrystalline panels are made from a single crystal of silicon. You might not need to go into detail of what is silicon and all of that. That is not the focus of this training. It's just to tell you what solar panel is made up of. Then those silicons have high efficiency, and then they perform better even in low light and high temperature areas because it's about sun now, and sun produces both light and hot temperature. Do you understand? So very high temperature affects the efficiency of panels. Low light, like cloudy days, also affect that. But monocrystalline perform better than other types of solar panels. Don't forget that. So that is it. And they have a longer lifespan than others, even though they are more expensive. They are easily recognized by their black color and then the uniform look they have. Don't forget that. That is monocrystalline solar panels. They are usually black in color and they have uniform look. Do you understand that? So, having said that, let's move on to polycrystalline panels. Polycrystalline panels made from multiple silicon, not single ones now, that are melted together to form those polycrystalline panels. Do you understand? So they are lower in efficiency, and then they slightly perform less in heat time. You understand? That is when sun is at peak, it affects it affects polycrystalline panels. Don't forget that. And this is one of the reasons why some solar PV system don't perform well, because those installers, they don't know the difference between monocrystalline and polycrystalline. They will go to market, they will give them polycrystalline that is cheaper, maybe in the with the price of monocrystalline. By that, they are already sabotaging themselves. Do you understand? So you need to know this. So let's go on. This one, polycrystalline, is more affordable. Do you understand? It is cheaper in the market. Don't forget that. It usually appear blue with a grainy looks. You look at them, you will see a kind of blue color on their surface. Do you understand? So note this, don't miss it. Oh, the polycrystalline, they usually look bluish in color. Do you understand that? So the thin film panels, let's get to that. Those are made from flexible materials like amorphous silicon, cadmium telluride, and some other silicon like that. They are very lightweight and flexible. Even though they are lower in efficiency, they are useful in special cases, like you see mobile systems, curved surfaces, limited weight capacity, because there are some buildings that can carry heavy panels. So they use all those kind of thin film panels that are flexible there. And they have a shorter lifespan compared to all those monocrystalline or polycrystalline panels. Do you understand that? So let's talk about the cell in a panel. Full cell modules. You remember I talked about full cell and half cut. Full cell modules. These are traditional design where each cell is one whole square, more resistance and slightly lower efficient, lower manufacturing cost. Do you understand? Then we come to the half cut. Half cut cell modules, because they are called solar panels modules. Do you understand? They call solar panel module. So in case a professional mention module, so you don't get confused, say how many modules do you want? That is asking you how many panels do you want? Is it a full cell module or half cut module, so you don't get confused. Do you understand that? Full cell modules is talking about those panels that are full cell. We are going to show you pictures so you will know the difference. Or they can ask you, do you want half cut modules? So let's explain the difference between both of them. Full cell modules, these are traditional designs where each cell is one whole square. You see them arranged like that. But half cut, there you see something like a cut in at the center of the panel. It will now have a first section and second section. Do you understand? Each solar cell is cut in half in this half cut, reducing electrical resistance. This will help it to perform better. You have better performance, especially in shading or high heat conditions. Do you understand? Then it has higher durability and output. Do you understand that? And then it's slightly higher in cost, but more energy yield over time. So from this little explanation, you already know that if your aim is to ensure that the solar PV you did, I mean, if your goal is to ensure that your solar PV system is stable, then you should be going for half cut modules, that is half cut solar panels. Do you understand? So if your aim is to make the solar stable, so that you can vouch for your work, I will advise you go for half cut modules, that is half cut solar panels. Do you understand that? The reason is because even though they are more expensive, they perform better both in low conditions and in a high temperature conditions. Do you understand? And it produces more solar energy than other ones. Do you understand? And you most of the times you see half cut in monocrystalline. Don't forget, I'm just trying to compare these three of them: monocrystalline, polycrystalline, then full cell and half cell. So the one that are better is monocrystalline, that is half cell or half cut, is the best. Do you understand that? So you might see polycrystalline that are half cut, but what you majorly see is monocrystalline that is half cut. Do you understand that? So if you have question, you look around this video, you will find a way to ask me the question. I will answer your questions. So let's move forward. Then now let's get to battery. Batteries, they store energy for when the sun isn't shining. Mostly used in off-grid or hybrid systems. Listen, I need to say this at this point, that since our focus is on PV system, that is photovoltaic systems, there are three type of solar PV system you can install in a house. Number one is off-grid. What it simply means is that it is only the house that is using the solar. You do not connect it to NEPA. Do you understand that? Because in modern cities or abroad, what they do, like Australia, what they do is they will connect If you want to install solar in your house, you will contact government officials that are in charge of it. They will come and install solar in your house and connect it to NEPA, so that the excess energy that you are not using, you can sell it, to the company. They will use it, transport it through, just like the normal way NEPA does in Nigeria. They will transport it to other houses that need more energy than they can produce. Do you understand that? So those houses will now pay the company will now pay you. They have meter to measure how many energy that is being drawn from your house to other people's house. Do you understand that? So in that case, you now have what is called hybrid or grid tied solar PV. So basically we have um, grid tied solar PV, we have off grid solar PV. That is, you are not giving anybody, it's only your house that is using it. And that is the ones we have in Nigeria regular everywhere. Do you understand? Then there is also a hybrid. A hybrid in the sense that is powering your house and then giving to others. It is connected to NEPA, for instance, in Nigeria, and then it's powering your house. You can also use NEPA to charge the system. Do you understand? In off grid, you don't use NEPA, it's only panel that charges the system. But in hybrid, you can use NEPA to charge, you can use solar to charge. You understand? So along the line, you might discover the one that is best for each individual. You understand? So in all of that, some of them need battery. For instance, if you are doing in these foreign countries where they do grid tied, that is, they connect it to their power line. Most of the time, they don't need battery to do that. You understand? So it's constant, and the grid, their their power plants store all the energy that is generated and gives back during the night to the whole people. They don't have dams like Nigeria. They depend solely on solar. Do you understand that? Okay, so in that case, battery is not needed. All the batteries, the companies have their own large batteries to store energy and supply the community. But we don't have all of that in Nigeria, so we will not go into detail to that. Our main focus here is uh, off-grid solar PV system. Do you understand? That is the one that each house will install, that they will use on their own. Those off grid, you can decide to connect it and use NEPA to charge your system. You can decide to disconnect it and use only solar PV to charge. Do you understand? So, but as a profession in this case, I will advise you disconnect from NEPA. The reason is because NEPA and the solar panels, they don't have the same current, so that will be confusing your inverter and charge controllers along the line, because sometimes NEPA is not stable. Sometimes the current they bring is not stable, it fluctuates. Sometimes it goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, and all of that. It keeps fluctuating like that. Sometimes they can give over voltage, even though you can use DC breakers and SPDs to control all of that. But my own work, I recommend you do your installation and disconnect. Let NEPA be different, let your solar be different. That way your system will last for you. You understand? So let's get back to what we are talking about. We are talking about batteries here. Do you understand that? So we say batteries store energy for when the sun isn't shining, mostly used in off-grid or hybrid systems. There are types of solar batteries. Please note that every battery is not solar battery. Do you understand? Mhm. Like when I was doing my practical, I used car battery to connect solar. Do you understand? But car battery is not solar battery. Do you understand? There are batteries that are specific for solar systems. You understand? As a matter of fact, car battery is designed to give high voltage. Initially, it doesn't have capacity to carry load over time. Do you understand that? So, car battery is not solar battery. Get that straight. So, let's proceed. Types of solar batteries. Number one, we have lead acid batteries, which is the oldest and most common in off-grid systems. And then let me also say this. Let me also say this. Lead acid batteries are in two types. We have a flooded lead acid battery, also known as a wet cell or vented battery. It is a type of rechargeable battery that uses a liquid electrolytes, typically a solution of sulfuric acid and water, to flood the battery cells. These batteries are widely used in various applications, including automotive, renewable energy systems, and industrial equipment. Those industrial equipment that are rechargeable, that need rechargeable batteries, they use red lead acid batteries. You understand? Then there is also sealed lead acid battery. Remember, the number one is what? Flooded lead acid battery. Number two now is sealed lead acid battery. A sealed lead acid battery or gel cell is a lead acid battery that has the sulfuric acid electrolyte coagulated, that is thickened, so it cannot spill out. They are partially sealed but have vents in case gases are accidentally released, for example, by overcharging the battery. That is, when you overcharge a sealed acid battery, any battery at all, they tend to release gases. They can be used for smaller applications where they are turned upside down. That is to say, remember that we said that the flooded lead acid battery, they use electrolytes to fill it, and it's not sealed, so you can't turn it over. But in sealed acid lead acid battery, you can turn it over. I will show you examples.